Good morning, sixth graders. This is a summary of chapter 12 and 13, United States History in the 20th Century. By 1990, 124 years after declaring its independence from Britain, the United States had become the most productive country in the world, one of the five powers, along with France, which another country, Great Britain, Germany, and Russia. Imports has grown from a few million dollars in 1880 to nearly a billion in 1990, and exports has almost tripled. The United States produced more than a half of the world's cotton, corn, and oil. About work, the United States had become the largest industry nation in the world by 1990, and many people work in the nation's bustling factories. About education, 90% of all Americans were literate or able to read. Parents could send their children to the public schools. Many school teachers were Christians who honored the Bible. Character training played an important part in the school curriculum. The United States were also masters of invention and technology. Here we have a mule and here is a horse harvest. This is communication. The United States led the world of communication. In the last units, we studied the invention of the telephone. We had Alexander Graham Bell, which year? 1876. Oh, I'm pretty sure you know something about the Titanic. Lexi, what do you know about the Titanic? It was one of the greatest sea disasters in the history and took place in 1912. The British luxury liner, the Titanic, collided with an iceberg and sank. Called the Millionaire's Special, the Titanic was the largest, more luxurious ship in the world. It was approximately 175 feet tall as an 11-story building, and almost 900 feet long, the length of three football fields put it end to end. Because of the way it was constructed, the Titanic was considered to be unsinkable. One crew member foolish said that not even God himself could sink this ship. When the ship left England on her maiden voyage, first ship she carried 950 crew members and 1,320 passengers bound for New York City. The Titanic cruised along at high rate of speed trying to set the record for crossing the Atlantic. However, on April 14, around 11:40 p.m., the ship lookout called the bridge to report birds dead ahead. But because the ship was traveling at top speed, it could not turn quickly enough. Just as the Titanic reached the huge mass of ice, she turned scraping against the iceberg. So, as you know, since since this happened, ships are almost required to have enough lifeboats for all passengers, and they must provide 24 hours wireless radio operators. Okay, this is one of the most important information about the Titanic. Another important event that happened during this century, it was the World War One. It was from 1940 to 1918. World War began in 1914 after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and lasted until 1918. During the conflict, Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Bulgaria, the Ottoman Empire, the Central Powers fought against Great Britain, France, Russia, Italy, and Romania, Japan, and the United States, the Allied powers. It begins, it convenes that Austria-Hungary was ready for war. The Serbian government ordered the Serbian army to mobilize and appeal to Russia for assistance. On July 28, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. On August 1914, German troops crossed the border into Belgium in the first battle of the war. The Germans assaulted the heavily fortified city of using the most powerful weapons in their arsenal. Particularly long and costly battles, this campaign were fought at Bornu, February December 1916, and the Battle of Somme, July November 16. Okay, but it may not finish on. They continue with the World War II. That it was from 1939 to 1945. World War II. For almost each year from 1939 to 1945, Britain fought the toughest war it had ever experienced. In 1993, the German people voted for a leader named Adolf Hitler, who led a political party in Germany called the National Socialists or Nazis. Hitler promised to make his country great again and quickly began to arm Germany again and assisted from other countries. Shortly before 5 a.m. September 1999, German forces stormed the Polish frontier. Okay, and when did World War II begins? World War II in Europe began on 3 September 1939, when the Prime Minister of Britain, Neville Chamberlain, declared war on Germany. It involved many of the world's countries. Why did the Second World War start? The Second World War was started by Germany in an unprovoked attack on Poland. Britain and France declared war on Germany after Hitler had refused to abort his invasion of Poland. The Axis and the Allies. What were the two sides in the World War II? They were the fought chiefly between two major allies, the Axis and the Allies. Who were the Axis? Germany, Italy, Japan, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria. Who were the allies? Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, China, Denmark, Estonia, France, Greece, India, Latvia, Malta, New Zealand, Poland, South Africa, United Kingdom, United States, Yugoslavia, and another ones. How did people protect themselves during the war? Children and some women were evacuated from the big cities into the countryside. People carried gas masks to protect themselves against a possible gas attack. People built air raid shelters in their gardens. All the windows and doors were blacked out to make it harder for the enemy planes to spot where they live. What effects did the war have on people? German borders made terrifying night rapes. The peaceful routine of everyday life was shattered. When did the war end? It ended in 1945. And people celebrate parties on the streets. If you look at the picture, this is how on September 1945, having agreed in principle to unconditionally surrender on August 15, Japan formally surrendered, ending World War II. That surrender was signed on September 2nd aboard the battleship USA Missouri in Tokyo Bay. Okay, basically, this is a summary of what we can see. You can download the PowerPoint presentation with information. There is a summary to do. Do it as a classwork. Okay, babies, prepare for the test that will be on Thursday. Bye bye.